What is up, everybody? Mike here. Since I bought a Corvette and I am a member of what I would say to be an automotive community, I hear a lot of myths and rumors about Corvettes that I just simply cannot agree with, and they are not true. So, I got to stick up for my baby here just a little bit, But anyway, one thing that I hear pretty often is Corvettes are heavy, and I'm not sure where people got this idea, maybe because it's American V8, I'm not sure. But, it's definitely not a heavy car. The Corvette is a full-size sports car. What I mean by that is, it's not a super light like a BRZ or Miata or an Alpha 4C or anything like that, of course, but 3,300 pounds for a car with a V8 with a ton of safety features, with that's really comfortable, power adjusted seats, all that good stuff, I would not call heavy at all. So I definitely don't think that the Corvette can be classified as a heavy car, especially when some sports cars these days are getting well into the upper 3,000s, 4,000 pound range. So definitely not heavy. And then going on with that same thing, some people say the Corvette gets terrible gas mileage. Now, of course, the C7 is a little bit of a different ballgame. The C7 has cylinder deactivation, very modern car. But even older Corvettes, like the C5 and C6, put it in 6th gear on the highway, stick it at around 60 or 65 miles an hour, car sits at like 1,200 RPMs, and you're just burbling along. I've known plenty of people who get like 27, 28, close to 30 miles per gallon in those cars, because they are pretty light and they're aerodynamic, so it doesn't take a whole lot of power to keep them moving. So yeah, definitely they get pretty good gas mileage as well for the type of car that they are if you drive reasonably. So that's the key word, driving reasonably. But another thing, now this is a tough one. This was the toughest one kind of for me to address, and that is that people say the Corvette is poorly built. And I would not, there are definitely some years where the Corvette was poorly built, don't get me wrong. But I would say that more often it's cheaply built more so than poorly. And what I mean by that, you take the C5 Corvette, for example. There are thousands of them running around still to this day. People use them as track cars. People mod the crap out of them and beat the crap out of them. LS engines are the most swapped engine for a reason, because it's a great power, not that that's Corvette specifically, but it's a great powertrain. And, there are just tons of them driving around. People use them as track cars. Again, they beat the crap out of them, and they last. And there's plenty of Corvettes driving around with well over 100,000 miles on them with very little problems. So, but the interior was really cheap, and there were some things that were cheap. So I would say that more often than not, the Corvette is just cheaply made rather than poorly made, if that makes any sense. And then number 4 is, a lot of times people say the Corvette has terrible resale value. And, I just was reading this weekend, Motor Trend has an article out. They produce a new magazine every once in a while where it's like they're all the new cars that are currently for sale on the market for that year. And, if you are to trust KBB and Edmunds.com and things like that, they have the little report that says like cost of ownership over 5 years. And the Corvette retains 51% of its value, which is great. And, that's right up there with some of the best of them I've seen with Porsches, BMW, all that. And sometimes people have said this to me. Of course, I bought a new Corvette, so yeah, I took a big hit on depreciation the minute I signed the papers. I know that. But if you buy a used Corvette, if you're looking at a used C5 for a clean one, you're still looking at 15,000-ish, around there, which is still pretty valuable. We're talking about a car from 1997 and up. And then if you look at a clean C5, even in C6 in 2005, you're still going to pay upwards of 20 to 25,000, and then of course it goes on from there. But I would say they definitely hold their value pretty well, and if you keep them clean, keep the miles off of them, they really don't depreciate that fast. I mean, they definitely hold their value over some years. Again, it's just one of those things where it kind of depends on what you do to the car. And then the last thing is, this is the biggest one. People say the Corvette handles poorly, and this is a lot of the same type of flack that Mustangs get and that kind of thing. And it's not that they handle bad. The Corvettes have never really handled bad. Of course, older ones, it gets worse as you go back farther, but that's like every car, right? Every car of the previous generation generally handled worse than the current generation. But Corvettes, it's not that they handle badly, it's just that they're a very unforgiving car. They have been. Now this car, I can hoon this thing around pretty hard, and it's very forgiving. It keeps me in check, it's a great car. But even the older ones, like people say, the Z06 didn't handle well, the C6 Z06, and it does handle fantastic. I mean, there's a reason why Corvettes are on record boards on tracks all over the world. It's because they handle great. It just takes a lot of skill to do it, and it's very unforgiving. When you're at the limit, it lets go, and it bites you in the ass if you don't know what you're doing. So it's a lot like the Viper. A lot of times the Viper gets a lot of flack as well. I say, oh, the Viper handles like crap. Not that the Viper handles like crap. It's a freaking amazing car. In ACR trim, the thing is like, it destroys everything on tracks. It's just very hard to doing. You really have to know what you're doing, and not everybody does. So that's the last one. So those are my top 5 Corvette myths. So those are the things that I hear the most about Corvettes that are just not true. We are stuck behind some people, some guess what? Some old folks, imagine that. But anyway, hope everyone enjoyed. If there's any myths that I missed or some things that you hear about Corvettes, let me know and I will address them. If they're true, of course I'm going to admit it, but if they're not, I got to stick up for some Corvettes here once in a while. But anyway, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Always appreciate it. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe and take care, everybody. Have a great day.